dive is to kind of walk through the journey this document outlines.
Okay, let's do it.
See what skills it's trying to build, how it moves you from the fundamentals to the really complex bits of interacting with data.
So it's a look at a specific learning path as described in this document.
Precisely.
All right, so according to this guide, where does the SQL journey kick off?
It starts right at the very beginning, day 1. Introduction to SQL and relational databases.
The absolute basics.
Yeah. What are relational databases?
Yeah.
These organized tables of related info and why SQLs are the way you talk to them. Understanding the playing field, basically.
And it jumps right into practical stuff. I saw day 2 is filtering and sorting.
It does, yeah. It doesn't hang around on theory. Day 2 is all about getting control, seeing what you want and how you want to see it.
So like picking specific rows and putting them in order?
That's it. The where clause to filter, order by to sort. And what's interesting, right from day 1, the source includes examples, practice questions.
Oh, already?
Yeah, and links to data sets, often just Excel sheets so you can actually try things out. Very hands-on from the get-go.
Nice. Okay, so after selecting and ordering, where does it go? Day 3 is joining tables. That sounds important.
Oh, it's crucial. Because, see, real data isn't usually just one big flat file. You've got customer info here, orders over there.
Product details somewhere else.
Exactly. Joins are how SQL lets you link those related pieces together, based on common ground, like a customer ID.
So you can get the full picture, like who ordered what.
Precisely. It's how you piece together the relationships in your data.
Gotcha. Then day 4, aggregating data. Is this about summaries, totals, averages?
Yes, exactly that. Taking lots of individual rows and boiling them down into summaries, using things like SUM, AVG, County.
MAN, max.
Right. Super useful for reports, seeing trends, getting the big picture instead of every single detail.
Makes sense. And day 5, data manipulation. Now we're actually changing the data.
This is your insert, update, and delete. Adding new records, fixing existing ones, removing old stuff.
So moving from just looking to actually, managing the data.
That's it. Which brings up, how do you keep it accurate? And just like before, the source keeps giving you examples, questions, data sets to practice these changes.
Okay, so we've covered finding data, summarizing it, changing it. Then the document seems to shift gears a bit. Days 6 to 11 into intermediate stuff. What's in there?
Yeah, definitely steps things up. Day 6 is advanced filtering and sorting. So going beyond the basics, more complex conditions, maybe pattern matching.
More control?
More control, exactly. Then day 7, working with functions. This digs into all the built-in tools SQL has for like text manipulation, date math, calculations. Powerful stuff you can do right inside your query.
And day 8, subqueries. That sounds a bit more complex, using one query to feed another one.
That's a really good way to put it. You run an inner query first, and its result gets used by the outer query. So you can filter based on something you calculate or compare across different groups. It lets you solve much trickier problems. It's a big jump in capability.
Day 9 introduces views and indexes. Views. Are those like saved shortcuts?
Kinda, yeah. A view is like a virtual table based on a query you save. It doesn't hold data itself, but it's a simpler way to look at complex data, like from a join, without retyping the whole query.
Handy. And indexes.
Indexes are about speed. They're structures built on columns to help the database find specific rows way faster, like the index in the back of a book. Key for performance.
Right. Okay. Day 10 is data integrity and constraints. Keeping data clean. Why is that such a focus?
Because messy data is useless data, pretty much. Integrity means accuracy, consistency. Constraints are the rules like this value must be unique or this ID must exist in another table.
Like primary keys, foreign keys.
Exactly. And the database enforces these rules automatically when you try to insert or update. It stops bad data getting in. Super important for trust.
Yeah, definitely. And day 11, modifying tables, so changing in the actual structure.
Yep, alter table. Adding columns, removing them, changing data types, adding constraints after the fact. It's about evolving the database blueprint itself as your needs change.
Got it. And again, the source keeps up with the examples and practice all through this intermediate stage.
Consistently. Examples, practice questions, data set links, they seem to be there every step of the way.
Okay, so after building that solid intermediate toolkit, the source heads into advanced territory from day 12 to 24. What does that involve? Sounds intense.
It is. This is where things get really deep. Day 12, for example, revisits joins and subqueries but calls them advanced. So probably looking at more complex types like full outer joins, maybe self joins, more intricate subquery patterns.
Building on what came before.
Exactly. Then day 13 introduces transactions and locking. Now, this is critical stuff, especially if multiple people are using the database at once.
Right, like on a website.
Precisely. Transactions ensure that a whole series of changes happen together, or none of them do, keeping data consistent. Locking prevents users from messing up each other's work, vital for applications.
Day 14 is just advanced topics, a bit vague.
A bit, yeah. Suggests maybe a catch-all or wider scope, but then day 15 focuses right back in on advanced querying.
And then it looks like it dives deeper into things we've already seen. Days 16 to 19 are advanced joins, advanced filtering, aggregations, advanced data manipulation.
Right. Which is interesting. It suggests the strategy in the source is to circle back to the core operations, but at a much, much higher level of complexity and nuance, maybe covering things like window functions for aggregations or common table expressions.
Okay. And there are broader days too, like day 20 advanced database concepts and day 22 advanced SQL concepts, plus day 21 on advanced SQL functions.
Yeah, it seems like a mix of deep dives into specific SQL features and maybe some broader database theory, but one that really jumps out is day 23. SQL performance optimization.
Making queries run fast. Why does that get its own day?
Because it matters so much. A query that takes minutes instead of milliseconds, that can absolutely cripple an application, waste server resources, make users furious.
Yeah, nobody likes a slow website.
Exactly. So this day, according to the source, is about understanding why a query is slow, looking at execution plans, and learning tricks to speed things up. Essential skill.
And it wraps up with day 24, advanced SQL techniques, pulling it all together.
Seems like the culmination, yeah. And, it's interesting how the structure listed in the source changes a bit in this advanced part, around day 15.
How so?
It often explicitly lists an aim for the day, specific resources, example questions, and sometimes even multiple sets of practice questions. Seems even more structured, maybe more intense. But that dataset link, still there all the way through.
Okay, so let's zoom out. What's the big picture journey this document lays out?
Well, it maps out a pretty clear path, doesn't it? Starts with the absolute basics, what SQL is, how to get data out, then builds up through joining, summarizing, changing data, moves into more powerful tools like functions, subqueries, views, indexes, then ensuring data quality with integrity rules.
Managing the structure.
Right, handling concurrency with transactions, and then really doubling down on advanced querying, complex techniques, and crucially, performance tuning. It seems designed to build, deep competence.
In the source material itself, it connects this learning path to some pretty big outcomes, right? It talks about jobs.
It does, yes. It specifically mentions potential placements at top product-based companies. That's presented in the document as something this program aims for.
And it uses actual numbers to back that up. I think I saw 1,000 plus alumni placed.
That figure is stated right there in the source, yeah, as a claim about the program's results.
And what about for people already working? Something about a salary hike.
It claims a 136% hike for working professionals and also mentions an average package of 24 LPA.
Wow.
But again, just to be clear, these are statistics presented within the source material itself. The document's claims about the potential results of mastering the SQL skills taught in its 24-day structure.
Understood. So the document basically paints this picture, a very focused 24-day practical path from knowing nothing about SQL to being quite advanced with lots of hands-on practice built in.
It definitely lays out a curriculum focused on building a comprehensive SQL skill set, from the ground up to optimization, heavily emphasizing practice along the way, based on what's written in the source.
Okay, so thinking about this whole journey described in the document, from basic selects to advanced optimization,
Yeah.
what kinds of things can you do with the data once you've mastered SQL like this that maybe aren't obvious when you're just starting out writing your first select data? What doors does it really open?